Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intensity. Hey, Aqualung, drying in the cold sun, watching as the pretty Peggy.
The slasher series Friday the 13th started back in 1980. Its surprisingly enormous profit margin led to a sequel almost every year thereafter throughout the 80s, regardless of how interchangeable each film seemed to be. The fans didn't give a shit about that. They just wanted to see the masked maniac Jason Voorhees find new and creative ways to kill off a new roster of teen camp counselors before going down in the end. In 1989, the same year as the 8th installment of the series, an NES game based off the movies was released by LJN, which is a huge red flag because it seems no matter who develops the game, if it's published by LJN, it usually sucks, especially if it's based on a movie. You play as a camp counselor. There are 6 to choose from, each of them have different attributes, and you can switch between them in mid-game, so they each act as 6 respective lives. Most of them are based off characters from some of the films. At least their names are, their likenesses not quite so much. George wasn't even a counselor though, he played a 50-something black dude, not a chubby white kid like in the game. And Laura isn't based on anyone, for some reason they just made her up for the game. Your objective is to walk around Camp Crystal Lake, warding off zombies, crows, wolves, and bats. The zombies are by far the most frequent. You'll see them about 95% of the time. And when you hear that annoying alarm going off, that means Jason is stalking one of the camp counselors inside one of the cabins, or one of the 15 children inside the cabins by the lake. You have a limited amount of time to get to the cabin, or Jason kills the counselor. And if he kills off all 15 children, it's game over. The other way to get a game over is obviously to lose all 6 counselors. Both game over screens are classic. Pausing the game will bring up the map screen. It displays where you are, and the blinking cabin is the one Jason's in. Walking right will move you clockwise on the map, and left moves you counterclockwise. Once you get to the cabin that Jason's in, you'll have a brief battle with him, and when you take out a small increment of his life meter, he'll run off and the battle is over. For now, anyway. He comes back more often than he does in the fucking series. So there are small cabins and large cabins. The small ones are the counselors' cabins. When you're inside one of these and another counselor is inside, you can pass weapons back and forth or increase their health meter if you have a medicine jar. You can also switch control between the two, and if you pause the game you can switch to other counselors that are stationed in the other cabins. You can't do this from outside or in the large cabins. Speaking of the large cabins, the only purpose they serve are the fireplaces you have to light. I'll get into why later on. It's kind of weird that the counselors get the small cabins. Who the hell gets to stay in the bigger ones? All 6 counselors start off with a rock that travels in an arc pattern, which is not only weak as shit, but it sails over enemies at medium distance. You have to reposition yourself a lot of the time to take out a zombie, because they take 3 hits with the rock, and it's worse if you have multiple zombies in different directions plus a slow camp counselor. Speaking of slow camp counselors, let's go over each character's attributes. Most of your battles with Jason are indoors. The counselor you use doesn't matter, other than the weapon you have equipped with them, so their attributes in this aspect doesn't matter. When you're outside though, that's when it does make a difference. They have different speeds with running, rowing when on the lake, and jumping height. George sucks. He's slow at running, rowing, and can't jump worth a shit. Use him only to fight Jason, or if you're in a desperate situation. Mark rules, on the other hand. He's great in all 3 categories, one of the 2 best counselors overall. Paul is okay at running and jumping, but he sucks at rowing. Never use him on the lake. Laura's an okay jumper, a pretty good runner, but a shitty rower. Don't use her on the lake either. Debbie sucks at running and jumping, but she's a really good rower, the only thing she's useful in, so you might want to just keep her in a cabin by the lake, real close to one of the 2 docks so her shitty running speed doesn't cost any kids their lives. And finally, there's Chrissy. She kicks ass in all 3 areas. Her and Mark are the 2 best. The soundtrack to this game is very repetitive. It's the same 5 seconds looped over and over and over again. It's fucking ridiculous. Whether you're outside or in the cave or the woods, this is the music you're hearing the whole time. Unless you enter a cabin, and the music is actually not too bad. The navigation around the cabins can be kind of confusing, but they're not really all that big, so it's not so bad. The cave and the woods are much worse, but I'll get into that later. The first order of business is to light the fireplaces in the large cabins. The game lets you know of this right away, but why you need to do this isn't revealed yet. First thing you need is a lighter, which you'll find right away after killing one of the first couple of zombies. Use Mark, Chrissy, or Laura for this, as they're faster and can move from cabin to cabin quicker. Jump around a lot to find hidden knives. These weapons are slightly more powerful than rocks, and they thankfully travel straight. Each time you grab one, head to a small cabin and pass it over to one of the other counselors. Then go back and look for more while you're on the way to the next fireplace. Unfortunately, if you already have the knife and you pick up another one, nothing happens. You don't get two knives and can pass one of them over, so you have to use rocks when you want to upgrade. Of course, you're gonna have to stop in your tracks to go fight Jason whenever the alarm sounds off. If Jason is in a small cabin and he's not right around the corner, head into the nearest small cabin and switch off to the counselor that's either closest to him or already in the same cabin as Jason. Take into account which counselor has the better weapon and more health, including if you enter the cabin and meet up with another counselor and their situation looks better, switch off to them. The battles with Jason are very basic. He'll shift around the room and take swings at you. Later on, he'll be wielding a machete or an axe. Nothing changes in his patterns, it'll just do more damage. Hold down and left or down and right to dodge his attacks. Sometimes he'll take 2 shots in a row, usually after backing up and then coming back straight towards you, so watch out for that. But when he backs up, that's usually the best time to attack. Just be alert for his possible charge back at you. These aren't the only times you'll battle Jason though. Every once in a while he'll randomly attack you on the pathways. It's more difficult here. You have to jump over the machetes he chucks at you and avoid making contact with him altogether. After 7 hits or so, he'll run away, but don't follow him unless you're awesome at fighting him on the path because he'll likely start another battle with you. I suggest running in the opposite direction. You can see the fights coming if there are enemies around and the screen stops scrolling. The battle will start once they're gone. So if there's a path or a cabin nearby, take it. It can get you off the screen before the fight commences. After a little while, the sun starts to set, and then before you know it, it's dark out. All this does really is affect the cave and the woods. There'll be bats and wolves in these areas at night. Crows also show up. They'll swoop down on you from above, but they don't move too fast, so if you keep a safe distance and when they come down, you can take them out. While you're going from cabin to cabin, lighting up fireplaces and stopping to fight Jason, pick up other useful items like keys and medicine jars. The key will open up locked doors in the woods and the cave. One key is all you need for all the doors, but only the counselor who collects it can use it. The medicine jars, which look more like jars of blood, will restore your health, but you can only do so by curing another counselor while you're in the same cabin as them. The only way a person carrying the medicine can be cured is if you run out of health entirely. Then your health is restored depending on how many jars you have on you. You'll find medicine more frequently in the woods or the cave, but remember that there are wolves in here too, which can be a bit of a hassle even though their patterns aren't complicated. They're just unpredictable because you can't tell if they're going to charge straight at you or jump. You can easily avoid them if you have a good jumper, otherwise watch out. So I suggest making sure you don't even bother sending a shitty jumper into the woods or cave. The bats aren't too bad, they just fly around and try to get in your way. Just avoid them. The other thing that sucks about the cave and the woods is that navigating your way around them is a pain in the ass. There are paths that lead up and down that take you to another screen, but everything's so redundant that you can't really trace your steps very well and tell where you are. It's either know the map completely beforehand, or take a wild fucking guess. Plus sometimes you'll go back and forth down the same path and it takes you somewhere else altogether. It's like a goddamn warp zone or something. And that can be a big problem when the Jason alarm goes off, because you can't switch counselors in this situation. You'll need to get the hell out of there fast, plus track down Jason once you finally do get out. There is a cabin in the cave, as well as a few in the woods. The ones in the woods are completely unnecessary since they're empty, and you can't change characters from here. The ones in the cave do provide you with some items. You just have to fight Jason's mother's decapitated head to get them. To get to the cabin in the cave, it's really simple, but it really helps when it's your first time through to light all the fireplaces first. Once you get them all lit, you'll get the flashlight, which will light up the pathways leading up in the cave. You can enter these before you get the flashlight, but you're probably not going to think to do that your first time through. Upon entering the cave, just head left and go up this path and you're in. She'll attack with quick dive attacks at an angle, or straight ahead slowly. You have to anticipate these quick attacks and react with your dodge as soon as you can. For the slower dives, you want to dodge as soon as she gets to where you are so you don't make contact with her on your way back. Because you only have a second or so to dodge, you'll automatically be dropped back to the middle. The rest of the time she'll hover up top before pouncing. That's when you'll want to attack her most often. You can also get a couple shots at her when she's on her way back from her slow attack. When you defeat her, you'll get a machete, which is a step up from the knife, and if you already have a machete, you'll get an axe, which is a step up from that. Now you may not even find this to be worth the battle at this point, because right after you light all the fireplaces and grab the flashlight, you'll battle Jason on the way out, and you'll get the torch, which is even more powerful than the axe, never mind the machete. It's short range, but it does a lot of damage and really helps with Jason's battles. Just remember that you don't want to run low on health when you have these upper echelon weapons, because if you die, the weapon's gone and you can find yourself in big trouble later on in the game. So if you find yourself in danger, pass it on to someone else. The other reason for bypassing Jason's mother for the machete is the fact that you can get machetes by simply killing 60 zombies. And it's exponential too, so you can just keep getting more machetes every 60 zombies you kill. So you can just do that and not risk losing a counselor to Jason's mother if you have a hard time fighting her. Now once you finally do get all of Jason's energy down, he's not dead yet, it's just on to the second day. All the counselors who survived will return with all their energy fully restored. One of the few times the game gives you a break. This time around, Jason's stronger. His attacks are the same, but sometimes he'll go into these fits of random turbo boosting, so watch out for this speedy fucker to catch you by surprise. The zombies and other enemies are a bit faster too. Otherwise, the strategy is exactly the same as the first day, only now you don't have to worry about lighting fireplaces. Just walk around, kill zombies, grab medicine, and wait for the Jason alarm. Keep a good rower along the lake to prevent kids from getting wiped out, and mind your health meter when you have the torch in the Jason battles. This time when you go in the cave and battle Jason's mother, she'll sometimes do 2 attacks in a row when coming in with a quick angle dive, so be on the lookout to dodge these twice. When you defeat her this time, you'll get her sweater, which will confuse Jason because the sweater smells like his mother. You'll only take half the damage from his attacks, and he won't fight you in the street anymore. The clothes of the counselor who wears the sweater will blink to give you an indication of who's wearing it. When you drain all of Jason's health again, you're still not done with the game. It seems to go on forever, just like the movies. The zombies don't have a noticeable change in speed, but that's not the case with Jason. He's fast as shit now, and all of his attacks are double shots. So now the timing with your dodges has to be perfect. His punches are too fast in between for you to dodge twice, so you have to move right as he takes his first swing so you dodge both shots and still get a chance to fire at him, but you have to do it quickly, because he doesn't back up anymore. To further assist you in taking Jason down, you may want to head into the cave and battle Jason's mother again. She is a bitch this time though. Really fast and frequent double attacks. You need to be on top of your game for this one. When you defeat her, you'll get the Pitchfork, the most powerful weapon in the game, and unlike the torch, it has a longer attack range and it goes through the zombies, possibly taking out more than one. If you can't stand up to Jason's mother, or if you simply don't want to risk losing a counselor, you may want to just use the torch the rest of the way and not bother. It's still a really powerful weapon, and you probably need the torch to kill his mother anyway, so you really don't want to lose the torch. You'll be fucked without it, or the Pitchfork. If the difficulty in day 2 isn't frustrating enough for you, then day 3 should do the trick. Considering how hard it really is to get the hang of the timing when battling Jason on this final phase isn't something you can do overnight. You have to be really dedicated, so that means playing through this repetitive game multiple times. When you drain Jason's health, it's finally over. For real this time. Shitty ending too. The same screen as earlier with text saying he really is dead, or is he? They leave the door open for a sequel? Thank God that never happened. This game is awful. Everything about it is just so goddamn repetitive. The music is the same shit over and over again. The battles with Jason are the same shit over and over. The combat is the same shit. The cabin is the same shit. Outside's the same shit. Everything's the same shit. And it's all shit. As interchangeable and recycled as the movies really are, at least they're entertaining. This game, however, is not. Even if you're not a Friday fan at all, you have to admit that this game doesn't do the franchise justice at all. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.